Good afternoon, and welcome to the 239th episode of the Georgia Farm Bureau Georgia Prep Sports Drive for the GHSA State Title. Today is going to be an awesome episode. We're going to change things up a little bit. It is the end of the school year, and so we're going to actually kind of open the door to the GIAA. We're going to bring on their Commissioner Tommy Marshall to kind of go over how the school year went on their front. Then in the second segment, we'll have on Ayres. He's from Fulton Science Academy. He's their athletic director. It's got to be one of the fastest growing schools in the state from what they've been able to accomplish just in terms of their academics and then getting that athletics going these past few years. So I'm excited to talk to them, and then we'll close it out with Tucker Pruitt, the head coach of Fitzgerald. They've been in 3 straight finals. They were in the Class 2A finals last year, finished 14-1, and they're gearing up for another big year. So let's go ahead and get things started with Tommy Marshall. Hey, Tommy, how's it going?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing well. IJ says hello.
Hey, IJ, he owes me lunch.
Thank you so much for coming on. So, yeah, let's just talk about the GIAA, the excitement of getting that thing started in 2021, and just how the school year went.
Well, it was great. As you know, we launched August 1st of last year, so it hasn't been a full year. It has been full of excitement, enthusiasm. We're still growing, so we're still adjusting to the websites and Instagrams and all the social media aspects. But it's been exciting. If you told me a year ago at this time when we launched, this is where we'd be. Like I said, we just finished our last sport championship, which was baseball. And it was a little drawn out, Greg. It went from 3 days of rain in Augusta to all over, with the last game being at Lake Point on Monday between Strong Rock and Bethlehem Christian.
That's right, and I saw some of it on social media. So talk about that aspect of it, just trying to get that kind of collective spotlight on the GIAA in terms of media. I know Max Preps is a great tool, but how else have you guys been approaching that?
We've used about every source, streaming, at times NFHS, but mostly streaming all our championships and the different things. But we've added the media aspect of Instagram and all the different outlets there that we're trying to incorporate the young people like to see. So we've tried to make a dynamic page that's interactive with some different things. So we've still got a ways to go, but we're growing, and we're growing pretty quick.
Yeah, and I know a lot of schools kind of went into the GISA or GIAA the last probably year or two. When you guys started, how many sports were offered? Has that changed?
It has. We've added girls golf, which was the first for us, our tournament this year. We've added boys and girls lacrosse. And so what we want to do is anything people had when they came to the GIAA, we're trying to provide. That includes literary clay targets, you name it, bass fishing, and we've added it.
The bass fishing too? And
yes.
How does the schedule differ at all? I know some of these schools just with AP exams and some of the other things. How do you guys accommodate that?
We have tried to end things. Our calendar's a little different than the other sports organizations. It is, we want athletes to compete in as many things as possible. So we tried to shorten the schedules, the seasons, to make that opportunity available to our student athletes. And so we're trying to finish the first thing in May. But like I say, baseball is our last sport. But we try to work around the APs and everything else to schedule things just on the weekends.
Yeah, and it's definitely a good blend of some upstart schools, some schools that have been around for a long time, well-established programs. But since it is all independent schools, they aren't really in the county school district. The way you guys kind of make decisions, is it a one vote per school system?
Yeah, our governance is a little different. If we're going to make a change or like the schedule's got to be approved, the headmaster of each school has a vote. So every one of our schools has a vote on an issue, regardless, after it's approved by the athletic committee and the subcommittees of all the different sports. So there is a filtering process, an approval process, but the ultimate vote is up to each school and the headmaster. And I guess that's a prerequisite for the headmaster and the AD to work side by side.
And then talk to us about how the playoffs work in terms of, obviously the GHSA has the classifications, but how does it work in the GIAA?
We also have the classifications 1 through 4. In some sports, we have a 2 and a 3. It depending on how many schools we have that plays that sport. Then we make out the brackets for that. But mainly it's done by max preps, the seeding, and some have a bye. Some don't, depending on how many schools in single A, double A, triple A, 4A. But sometimes there's just a 2 and a 3A, or we'll combine them all into one if it's a startup sport for us.
Okay, so that's interesting. All the playoffs go by a ranking seeding system.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's amazing how close it is to being. Every now and then you get a 6, 7, or 8th, but it's usually, if you look at the rankings going in, it's a real good barometer and measure of trying to get the final 4 teams, the best teams that you have.
Yeah, and I know a benefit of these GIAA schools being in this league, in a sense, is if they were to go into the GHSA, the travel, it might be tough for them, just with some of these regions stretched out. So in terms of being able to play schools around each other, is that something that is factored in?
Yes, and it's important to us, especially as across the state as we are right now, that we don't have to have 4 teams in a region. We can have 2 because the final brackets and playoff settings are by max preps, not necessarily by the region, even though like in track and different things. So it depends on the sport, but there is a lot of flexibility in the regions in that we try to do travel and to take that into account in everything we do. So some regions have 2, some can have 6, but remember, whether they get in the playoffs or not and where they're ranked is a max prep thing, doesn't really affect the region thing.
And would you say with these GIA schools, I mean, we see it in some of the bigger schools too, but does this promote kind of dual sport athletes or athletes to be able to participate in more than one sport?
It does. I think the schedule itself and the flexibility it provides for an athlete to go from one season to another, because they're shorter for that reason. A lot of our schools, we need the multi-sport athletes to compete, 2 sports, 3 sports at some of our school. And it's exciting to see that. And I think the athletic schedule and the calendar are conducive to really the opportunities for athletes to do that.
And then has the number of member schools gone up, or do you expect it to go up heading into this next year? Is it a 2-year thing, or how do teams join in?
It's a 2-year thing. We're trying to make sure the cycle is good. We have the same cycles every 2 years. And but we had 27 schools last year, and there are some schools, but we're going to, as you know, reclassification happens this fall for us, for GHSA, and for some of the others. So this would be a big reclass this fall for all of us.
And then I know at the big announcement, you were talking about kind of what the next 20, 25 years might look like. And I mean, you had big aspirations talking about televised games. Where do you see just overall just the rise of all these private schools, how the overall education landscape is going and how important it's going to be for the GIAA to kind of be the leader?
Well, we're in a thing called the SECIS, Southeastern Conference of Independent Schools, with Alabama, South Carolina, Mississippi. So we've done some cross. We have a big golf tournament. We had a football series between all the states at West Georgia to start the year. So we're going to try to add that more and more across the states. And we want to be the leader in that. But I think school choice as becomes more important and more of an option for people, that we want to provide that opportunity for us and for them to be part of it. So I think sometimes, as Jeff Jackson, our executive director, says, our president, the good thing, we're all independent schools, and the bad thing sometimes is we're all independent schools. So it's good, but we hope to be the leader in the move for independent school and the association, because the bottom line is we are a little different in the governance, how we operate, and the different things. So that is what we're trying to build, is something that people can look at. They can make the decision on what's best for their school at this time in their school.
Yeah, I know you guys had a big volleyball tournament too. Is that right? That had a bunch of different
Yes,
states.
yes. It was neat to see. Great to see.
And that was at West Georgia.
That was at West Georgia too. Football was at the football stadium, while the volleyball was at the gymnasium and basketball arena. And it was neat to see. They come out, some teams were the same from the states, but the Mississippi volleyball and the Mississippi football, there was sort of camaraderie there with the Alabama and the South Carolina and the Georgia.
And I'm looking at how many member schools. It looks like it's got to be about 50, 60. What's the current status on that?
Ours that play sports, depends on the different sports, but most of them are up around 80. And that
Okay.
football's about 60. And some of the other sports are up to 80 to 86, 88.
And then it's yeah. What have you seen just with girls flag football? That's something we've seen really take off. It's been exciting to watch for the GHSA, but just in terms of these schools, just talk about where you see the future of that sport.
Oh, it was exciting. That was the first. We had that at Strong Rock Christian first, and watching the athletes compete, of course. And I think our champion this year was St. Epicelli's, who did well in the other league last year. But it was exciting, and another opportunities for our females, for all of our athletes, our student athletes. But it was the first for us, and got to be there and hand out the trophies. And I need to tell you this, if it's about communities, athletes, coaches, and athletics in general, I'm all in. When they asked me to try to help 2 years ago when I retired from Ayres, I went from 100 as the daily routine of an athletic director to working out of the house, but trying to help grow a league. I went to an 8-man football game my first year, and when that championship was crowned, and the crowd, you'd have thought it was 7A schools. The relationship between the players and the coaches, the excitement, the talk about rings, and all that. I want to support young people, especially in a team arena and a team atmosphere.
Yeah, and I remember I first saw the 8-man football being played some of the northeastern states. How long has that been around in Georgia?
It's been around a while, and you just don't hear much about it because there aren't a whole lot of schools doing it. But it's a lot like, as far as the lineup and everything, watching arena football, So in that aspect, it's been great. It allows people to participate they may have 16 to 18 players. So some of the smaller schools have been able to start that and to watch it grow. But like I said, I think one of the things you'll see, and we talked about this, is we got recognized by Georgia Football Daily, covered us and covered a lot of our playoff games. The GACA honored our coaches, the Georgia Athletic Directors. We had AD of the Year for the first time in there. The Dugout Club did a magazine for our baseball, which has really got some strong athletes. So it's opened my eyes even when I was at Ayres. I didn't know a lot of these schools existed, and but when I travel around and see it, it means just as much to every community and every coach and every player and every parent.
And then overall, I know Macon has a lot of member schools in it, but how does it kind of look statewide? Where is it more centralized? What kind of areas have the most of these programs?
Macon is our sort of a hub. Right now, a lot of those Macon schools that are with GIAA right now is sort of the center of the state. But from Valdosta to St. Mary's to Savannah, it's neat, but that's most of it is south of Atlanta. Most of the schools, we added some of the St. Mary's and Heritage and some of the schools right south of Atlanta moving down towards Macon. So it was neat to see the growth there. But it's been exciting. I'm glad you're talking. Next school you talked to is one of our, they've grown like crazy. And it's exciting to see what they've done.
Yeah, the Mustang is Fulton Science Academy. I'm excited to
Yes.
talk to them. What would you say overall, though, in terms of the coaching in the GIA? Are you seeing a lot of coaches that have been kind of in the GHSA coming over after maybe their 30 years taking over these programs? Is it more young and up and coming coaches? What's kind of the age range you're seeing?
I think it's a great combination because some of our schools allow a young coach that's got a vision that's done a great job. At another school, a chance for a head coach and to put his handprint all over a program. Plus, we do have the other coaches that have been there. They're looking to do something different. They've been in the system. They've done that. They've worn that shirt, and they're looking for a new challenge. So it's a great combination of older and younger coaches. But what I've seen is most of our coaches do 2 sports, maybe even 3 sports sometimes, and the relationships with the kids is what I get most excited about. To see that coach relationship with the student athletes is going to last a lifetime.
And so you mentioned the 2-year process. Are you guys in the middle of that cycle right now? And what is this
Yes.
kind of summer going to look like for you guys in terms of preparing for next school year?
Well, we have a coaching clinic this summer. We'll be trying to look at everything we did last year and evaluate the good things, the things we need to work on, the changes we need, some of that kind of stuff. So in that realm, we'll use this to really evaluate what we've done the first year and try to move forward and improve and make any necessary changes we need to make. But also this fall is the start of the reclassification cycle is this fall. So it all starts, as you know, it goes through fall and to the winter, and that's a process too. But really, we want to look at what we've done this first year, take all the good things, the bad things, look at them, evaluate them, and then move forward and try to make some changes for our schools and for our communities.
And then last question, is this off season? Oh, sorry, continue.
Yeah, my goal when I came on is to really highlight our student athletes and the great job our coaches do. And I think we've been pretty successful in doing that because it's been neat for me to see, especially being at Marist all those years and coming here and the difference.
Certainly. We definitely want to celebrate the entire state. And then would you say this offseason will be a little easier just being in the second, going into the second year where you guys aren't having to worry about scheduling?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You said that well. It was a year stuffed into about 3 months trying to get everything ready and work on it with all the different situations and scenarios. But like I said, we have made a promise to our schools to keep working to provide better services for them. We brought on extra people. We've added people in the office, and all of it's about service to our schools. We don't go to the main office. We have most of our staff for the GIAA around the state and try to visit all of our schools individually, as well as, of course, work the state championships and the region championships and all the other things.
Awesome. Well, Tommy, thank you so much for coming on. We'll have to catch up. Congratulations on the successful school year, and we look forward to covering you guys more.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. Have a great summer.
You too. All right. Well, there goes Tommy Marshall, Commissioner of the GIAA. Yeah, that's kind of the first time I've really looked into it. I have seen some of the state championship coverage, but it is growing pretty fast, and it's obviously a big part. There is that crossover where some of these schools will be filling gaps in the GHSA schedule, and so I think it's just another aspect of Georgia high school sports that is very important to building future productive members of society. But let's go ahead and take a quick break and thank our sponsor, Georgia Farm Bureau.
Our mission has always been to support Georgia farmers. That's why we created Georgia Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, providing financial protection that farmers needed. While this remains the same today, we've grown to protect all Georgians through home, auto, and life insurance. From the very beginning and into the future, we stand for every Georgia community.
We are our Farm Bureau.
All right, welcome back. So let's go ahead and go to our second guest, Fulton County Science Academy Athletics Director, Alex Ayres. Hey, Alex, am I saying that right? Is it Ayres?
Ayers.
Ayres, all right. There we go. So, yeah, how'd the school year go, and just what have you seen since 2018 in terms of building an athletic program at this unique spot?
Yeah, we had a very good school year coming off COVID 2 years ago. It was just very good. I mean, a lot of participation at the school. Participation is really up the last several years. We see major growth in all of our athletic teams. We added varsity girls basketball this past year, along with varsity boys soccer. So it's been really good season all around for everybody at the school.
So those were two sports that were new this year?
Yeah, they were two brand new sports. Yep.
Okay, so it looks like the school opened for the first time was at 2012. You guys been around 11 years now, and from what it looks like, you guys are taking advantage of that building from scratch. Like, you guys are kind of, your future's in your own hands and what's possible for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the school's been here, located over in Alpharetta, right down the street from Topgolf. We've been here since 2012, originally a charter school. Recently became private school in 2015. Our athletic department will be going into a 7th year of existence this next year. So we're really excited about the future here at FSA. We do have a big old athletic $8 million complex coming in the beginning of August. So we're very excited about getting some on-campus facilities to better enhance our student athletic.
Yeah, and it's so important. When I just think back to school, I was a guy, I'm not going to lie, I prioritize sports over education every day. That's what I was focused on. But then I think about it, like group projects, things like that. If you don't have athletics and teams and that culture at the school, it's like you aren't really making those relationships. So how has athletics kind of seamlessly fit into what you guys are doing at the school?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like when I came over here, next year be my 6th year overall, and our school, they're known for Science Olympiad, Math Olympiad, very high academics. Pretty much all our high school students take honors and AP courses. So I mean, we feel like, you know, with the 5-6 years ago when they built the athletic department, we felt like this was very important to have extracurricular activities such as fine arts and athletics to go along with the Science Olympiad and the other curricular clubs that we have on campus. But we've been trying to balance everything with the high academics and athletics. We've done really well. I feel like we've got a little more room to go down the future, but everything's off to a very good start.
And then what have you seen just having K through 12 kind of in the same building, those younger students kind of looking up to kind of what they want to be later on in their academic career and just the example that's been set?
Yeah, it's very unique having. We have 940 kids on our campus here in Alpharetta. I mean, K through 12th grade. It's very unique having everybody in one big old building, but I feel like it builds a family atmosphere. Trying to get the kids to come out to the athletic events, even from elementary. We do clubs and things like that. Just build that school spirit up. I feel like that's most important for these high school kids and even elementary kids as they come through for hopefully the 12 years you're at Fulton Science Academy.
And so, yeah, you said like 900 students now. That's K through 12. So how has the graduating class kind of increased over the years, and what's the kind of threshold you guys are thinking for enrollment?
Yeah, basically, I mean, like, let's see, last night we graduated our 4th high school class in school history. Basically, the first one was built amongst the kids. The kids actually approached the administration about 5-6 years ago. They wanted to come here to Fulton Science Academy to have their senior class. They all became here in middle school, but they all wanted to come here and start the high school program. So it was like unofficially we started the high school program 4 years ago. And 4 years ago they graduated 4 high school students, or nine high school students that past year. This year we're up to 36. We graduated them last night, so 9 to 36 in 4 years. Max capacity is pretty much be 40 per grade at the high school.
Okay, and then obviously you guys have your admission process, but how do you guys divide it up in terms of how many male students, female students?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have very diverse student body here. I must see, we have over 1,000 people currently on our waiting list. A lot of the retention's a big focus of our school, and we just look for kids from all over the world that have high academic and great values and great families. That's how we've built this school through athletics, fine arts, and high academics.
Absolutely, and yeah, I was looking at some of the accomplishments. I mean, these big national science tournaments, your students are placing 5th, 6th in the country. It's got to be just a really demanding kind of academic atmosphere. So talk a little bit about that, just the programs you guys are doing, the innovation, the different approaches to education, and how you guys specifically have stood out.
Yeah, our school, man, we have like all these different pretty much we have 7 class periods per day, and then about 3:15 for the middle school and high school we have these academic clubs every afternoon. It could be Model UN, Science Olympiad, basketball club, tennis club, math Olympics, chess club. It's a variety of different things, and our school has given the programs liable resources to be able to play and participate at the national level. I mean, it's pretty awesome. It was last week, our Science Olympiad team went to the national championship in Kansas City. So, I mean, it's pretty cool that we have a nice school that can support that for multiple different programs. As the athletic director, my goal here was, every kid's either going to be really good athlete or really good at academics, but we definitely want both and trying to have the complete kid with high academics but also high level of athletics too. And I feel like that's very important. That's what these colleges are looking for as these kids graduate, that, everybody's either smart or either athletic. But if you can do both and like have a demanded schedule, get a couple college credits along the way, take your APs, honors. I mean, those are the kind of kids that we have at our school, and those are the kind of kids that the colleges are really starting to want.
Yeah, and I'm assuming as an athletic director in the type of school you guys are, it's not the typical where everyone's living in the district, they're having to get to campus. So what's that like just in terms of the practices, scheduling those on campus, finding the facilities, and then being able to get everyone to the games?
Yeah, it's crazy sometimes. That's one thing we've been struggling with in the past, but hopefully this new athletic facility coming at the end of August will be enhanced that. But right now we have a beautiful gym on campus. Pretty much everything else is rented or borrowed off campus. We use Mill Springs. It's a local school nearby for soccer. We use East Roswell, public parks. We use Wills Park as well. But we have our school bus. We also rent from a company locally, and we all transfer everybody around. But volleyball, basketball, fencing, they all do play on campus. And hopefully this time next year, we'll have everybody on campus for all athletic teams as we build a brand new soccer field on campus. We got tennis courts coming, weight room, field house. So it's going to be a very, very good opportunity, a very bright future for us.
And you were talking about that waiting list that obviously is going to range K through 12, but what is the typical grade where you're seeing most of the kids come to campus?
A lot of kids are coming to campus, like like when they leave fifth, they come fifth grade and go to sixth grade, or when they hit the eighth grade to ninth grade. As usually during that, when they enter middle school or enter high school, we've seen a lot of kids coming to campus. I feel like dating back to all the COVID stuff, I feel like we handled that. I mean, some of the best in the state or even the country. Our administration was on board with all that. We handled all state laws, the national national laws and everything, and we worked out really well. And we actually gained students during that time when many schools in the area and the state actually struggled with enrollment and things like that. But I think we handled that perfectly, and that's setting us up for a very bright future.
Yep, and I saw one of the sports you guys offer is fencing. I've actually seen some fencing bumper stickers around here. I know it is an activity that is popular. So, I mean, have you seen any background in that before you got to Fulton County's, sorry, I keep saying Fulton County, Fulton Science Academy?
Yeah, we started fencing, 5 years ago now. We basically partnered with Elite Fencing. There's it's like an organization out of Johns Creek. They're very good. We brought that to campus. I mean, I just asked pretty much the first day I got on campus, they only had basketball, volleyball, and cross country. I told the parents and this administration, like, we'll start any sport they want to start. So we had, they started when they wanted to do soccer, they wanted to do fencing. We had bowling at one point, stuff like that. And we started it because we had the resources and the large enrollment to be able to support that. So we've been very successful, and hopefully one day we'll have lacrosse, baseball, softball, and things like that.
Yeah, so right now it's cross country, volleyball, basketball, swimming, fencing, tennis, golf. You guys added the girls basketball this year, and I think you said, what was the boys sport?
Oh, we also added flag football, varsity boys flag football.
Okay, and so the next few years, I mean, are you thinking about adding more, or where do you see the future?
I see the next few years, I don't know if we're going to add any more sports at this moment, but hopefully build up the programs that we currently have, like, add a JV boys soccer, or add varsity girls soccer.
Okay, yeah. And then, obviously, you guys have an exceptional graduation rate. Just talk about this latest senior class, just obviously AP classes, the GPAs were probably off the charts, but just in terms of where they're getting opportunities to continue their education.
He got booted off by your other guest.
Oh, no.
It's all good.
We'll see if we can get him back.
He's back. The other guest booted him, though.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, just go over some of the colleges where your graduates are going to be heading off to this next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very impressive lineup of the schools these kids are going to. We signed one of our volleyball players, Shreya. She'll be going to Cal State, University Institution Cal State. Over there, valedictorian's going to Duke University. We have several kids going to Georgia Tech, a couple going to USC, pretty much all over the world and all over the country. A lot of Georgia State. But everybody's going to college this past class, so we're very proud of that.
And then when did the athletic season come to an end, and then what are you going to be focused on just during the summer months?
We wrapped up the 1st of May with our middle school tennis, won the GAP state championship for the middle school team. That was our the last school sport we did. This offseason, we're just looking to improve athletics, to make some minor adjustments I feel like we got to make within the department. We're looking to add athletic trainer and just continue to build our facilities, add our coaches, and things like that. I mean, I feel like we're heading the right direction. We got to get just a couple minor tweaks to be able to become a major player in the GIAA.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about the coaches you have on your staff. I know at kind of your public school, it's sometimes tough to hire them because they have to fill the teaching role too. But how have you been able to kind of bring in these coaches that understand what you guys are accomplishing at the school?
Sure. We have a wide variety of coaches. I say we're probably about 50-50. We have 50% of our teachers, our coaches are full-time teachers and staff members. And then we also, about the other 50% is people in the community coaches. I would consider that other job profession. We have a wide variety of coaches. We have a couple young coaches that are fresh out of college, and we got a couple veterans that, have been coaching tennis for a long time, coached a lot of kids in the community for over the years and years, and then a couple coaches that have played college ball and things like that. So it's a great combination of what we have. I'm always looking just to get our staffs better, and I feel like that's huge to have a top coaching staff.
For sure. And then I was talking to Tommy earlier. It's going to be the second year of this cycle, so I mean, how big of a relief is that not to have to focus on scheduling as much heading into next year?
Yeah, it's definitely a big relief. Tommy's been a very great addition to our GIAA. He's been a great face and be able to do things like this and be seen more in the state with the Georgia high school. But I mean, it's just, we got a good organization. It's just going to be nice to settle down. We got a really good region we're in. We play at Dominion, Holy Spirit Prep, Cristo Rey. And schools like that, they all play the same amount of sports as we do. They have the same type of enrollment. And we're just really, it's a really good community among the coaches and the schools, that the division that we're in, the GIAA.
Certainly, and then we'll have to get you on again, but just for people listening, where can they follow you guys on social media, learn more about the school and your athletes?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we appreciate you having us on. For all social media, it's FSA_athletics. We're on Instagram and Twitter. So, I mean, we're out there. We love to be seen. We just want to get our athletic brand out there. I mean, I know it's out big time out there for for academics, but we just want to be seen for athletics and know that we're serious about athletics here, and we're a major player in the state of Georgia.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We'll have to get you on later. Just hope you guys enjoy this summer, and I know it's going to be another big year for you guys and the Mustangs.
Thank you, Craig. I appreciate you having us on. You have a great
You
summer.
bet. Yep, you too. Anytime. So there he goes. Yeah, a great campus. I mean, the facilities look amazing. He mentioned the $8 million addition right in Alpharetta by Top Golf. And then, they have an alumni list and on their website some facts about where they're all going. He mentioned the volleyball player going to Cal State, their valedictorian going to Duke, also participated in athletics. So we'll have to learn more about that. But that was really exciting. Let's go ahead and take one more quick break, though, before we're joined by our final guest, Tucker Pruitt.
Our mission has always been to support Georgia farmers. That's why we created Georgia Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, providing financial protection that farmers needed. While this remains the same today, we've grown to protect all Georgians through home, auto, and life insurance. From the very beginning and into the future, we stand for every Georgia community.
We are our Farm Bureau.
All right, welcome back. So before Coach Pruitt joins, let me try to run through some of this news real quick. So high school basketball is getting new free throw rules. Just let me know if he comes on. All right. So beginning next season, shooting a 1-and-1 at the foul line will be no more in high school basketball games. The National Federation of High School Associations annual meeting this spring approved the change, Rule 481, eliminating the 1-and-1 scenario and setting new foul limits each quarter for awarding the bonus free throw. 2 free throws will occur after an opposing team reaches 5 fouls in a quarter, and team fouls will reset at the beginning of each period. Previously, teams were awarded the 1-and-1 bonus when their opponents committed 7 fouls and a half and 2 foul shots when 10 were committed. So that is a pretty significant change. And then according to the NFHS, the focus of the rule change is to decrease injuries and allow a better game flow for the teams involved. Quote, the Rules Committee studied data that showed higher injury rates on rebounding situations and saw this as an opportunity to reduce opportunities for rough play during rebounds. Lindsay Atkinson, the NFHS Director of Sports and Liaison to the Basketball Rules Committee, said in a press release. And, I mean, that definitely is going to impact the strategy. 5 fouls instead of 7, no one-on-ones. Teams can definitely take advantage of that. So Kell's girls coach, Kendra Bailey, she says, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of it. She said the kids are going to have to get used to it. And then Atkinson, who was on the board, she said, resetting the fouls after each quarter will improve game flow and allow teams to adjust their play by not carrying foul totals to quarters 2 and 4. That is a great point. So if you have a ton of fouls in the first quarter, the third, it's going to be a fresh start. And then you just don't want to get to that 5 mark because it's going to send them to the line for 2. Let's see, Campbell boys coach James Gwynn, he said, most coaches identify a player or 2 to foul. You're almost going to have to hope the guy misses 2 shots now. And then McEachern girls coach Phyllis Arthur, another state championship coach, she says she believes the new rule will eventually help her team after adjustments are made. We have to learn to keep our hands to ourselves and have faster feet. We are aggressive and we do foul, so it will be important. So there you have it right there. We'll touch back on that in a second, but let's go ahead and welcome on Tucker Pruitt. Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Going good. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you so much for coming on. So, yeah, just talk about how the off season has been going.
Well, it's going good. Like we always do. In January we push the reset button and we get out of the weightlifting class, and we start with the upcoming 10, 11, 12th graders. And the off season's not really a fun thing. If you're a football player, it's been a lot of running, a lot of conditioning, a lot of lifting. We've tried to take the months of January through about April to really focus on the weight room and getting bigger, faster, stronger. And then we led into some football stuff, and we do some stuff in class, but we didn't do spring officially with our older guys, but we did with our upcoming 7th, 8th, and 9th graders, and really just getting ready to graduate right now and excited about getting our summer program going after this dead week.
Yeah, and it's been an incredible past several seasons, the 3 straight finals appearances. You guys won the state title 2021. I know in 2020 you had a really young team. 2021 you guys took it all. Then last year had another great season. I think you returned 8 guys on offense, including 4 of your 5 offensive linemen. So what are the numbers looking like this season in terms of returning starters?
Well, we lost a really good senior class. It wasn't a huge senior class. There was 13 guys, but some guys that are, going to be really hard to replace. Daniel James on the D-line was a 2-year All-State player for us. Xavier Walker as well on the offensive line. Khalil Williams was a tight end sniffer. Cylon Davis was a fullback that ran and blocked. Sultan Cooper at quarterback. DJ Brown at corner. Had a really solid year for us. And so Robert Brown at outside linebacker. I mean, there's some guys that we're going to have to, some people are going to have to replace, but every coach is dealing with that right now. But we do return a pretty good nucleus of guys, 4 out of 5 starters on the offensive line, 6 or 7 guys on defense that have played significant snaps for us. And so there's a lot of experience, and I think, there's a lot of high expectations. Obviously, we have a bad taste in our mouth coming off of that last game, and it's great to have a great season and get so close, but man, it stinks when you can't pull off that last victory. And so hopefully we got a lot of experience back. We've had a good off season. Hopefully we're a lot better next time we take the field, and hopefully we carry a bad taste in our mouth from last year.
Yep, and then I think last year you were saying the offense was returning a lot of experience. Defensively, though, you were breaking in some new guys. When we talked in October, you were concerned about some of the missed tackles, but you guys were cleaning that up. But it looks like the defense with those 6 or 7 guys returning that have that experience is going to be kind of ahead of where you guys were at this point last year.
Yeah, we hope so. There's a lot of experience back on that side of the ball. This senior class is a bigger class for us. And a lot of these guys played as sophomores in our state championship team, and then again last year on our state runner-up team. But, there's no substitute for experience. Everybody's got players that they think can do it and can't do it, but it's a little bit more reassuring when you got guys that you can run out there that have played in big-time games I think there's just a little bit more trust there. And, Coach Gamble and his staff have done a great job on that side of the ball. And we feel like if we can play great defense, we're always in the game. If we can win that turnover battle, and that's definitely been a big part of our success.
Yeah, and last season, I mean, you guys were 14-0 heading into that finals, but you guys played obviously a ton of really talented teams, but you were in a lot of close games too. Were able to pull out some big victories late. That's obviously indication of some of the leadership and toughness you had. But let's talk about how you guys were able to do that last year, and then what it's going to take this year to close out all these tight games.
Yeah, well, that's, something that we try to do and pride ourselves on as being the tougher team. And when it gets down to the fourth quarter and both teams are tired, being able to have the toughness and the focus to still go execute. And hopefully we can win that quarter. Unfortunately, we did not do that in the state championship game, and that's why we lost that game. But the Irwin County game, we had to drive about 89 yards with about 5 minutes left to go to win the game. And we actually scored with under a minute to take the lead for the first time in that game, and was able to win that one. That was a close one. And then weeks later, our defense was on the field, and we had to have a big stop at the game. Northeast making by 1 point. There was other close games in Madison County. I think we were losing at halftime, and kind of came from behind and won the fourth quarter there, and won another close game. And then Rockmart in the third round, we never led until overtime. We had to go 90 yards with about 4 minutes left to go to score just to tie it. And we did that, and then forced overtime and was able to take the lead there. So, some of it's luck, some of it is toughness, some of it is the mindset that we expect to win in these situations. And so hopefully we can continue to win those close games, because if you're going to make a run to the championship, you've got to have one or two of those fall your way.
And then that Madison County, Florida game, are you guys going to square off with them once again? And where was that one played?
That's played in Brunswick at the Florida-Georgia Border Wars, and yes, we're going to play them again. The schedule is identical. You just flip the home and home, and then obviously we'll see what happens in the playoffs.
That would be a big one. So, yeah, Irwin County out the gates, Turner County, Northeast Macon, Madison County, Florida. And then what were your overall impressions of Region 1 last year? Looks like a pretty talented bunch right there, the 4 playoff teams. All kind of trying to make noise coming out of it.
Yeah, there was really a lot of newness last year. You had a first-year coach at Cook and Coach Slack, a first-year coach at Worth. You had a first-year coach at Sumter, so there was a lot of unexpected with, some new coaches, new teams. But I think it's a very competitive region. We only beat Dodge by 8 points last year. Cook is going to be much improved. I look for Worth to be improved. All those teams that I just told you were in year 1 with new coaching staffs are in year 2 now, and that's a big jump and a lot more familiarity. So, I think I got a lot of respect for Region 1 anything. Region 1 single A all the way up to 7A. It's going to be good football, and you better prepare and have a good off season and tighten your chin strap up and be ready to go each and every Friday night. If not, somebody's going to beat you.
Absolutely. And then Calvin Tillman, he was a really big piece offensively last year. What have you seen from him heading into his senior year, and how big of a role is he going to play?
He's a great kid, first and foremost. Awesome young man, hard worker, extremely polite and respectful. He's a great teammate, and he's had a great offseason. He played basketball and did some long jump, triple jump in track, and so he stayed busy. But he's long, he's tall, he's athletic, and we don't throw the ball a ton, but when we do, we throw it up and give him a chance to make a play, and he hadn't let us down. And we're definitely going to need to go back to him a lot next year and have him hopefully have a better year than he's had. He was our best receiver as a sophomore and last year as a junior, and so hopefully he continues to develop and improve and can definitely be a game changer for us.
And then talk a little bit about the quarterback battle or just position so far heading into this year.
Well, one of the things I really like about this team is the experience that we bring back on both sides of the ball. Unfortunately, that's one of the positions where we'll be brand new. We've got a senior, LaFavian Boone, who's a really good athlete. He's a leader, winner. He's been in our program for 4 years. He's got the confidence and trust of everybody in our organization. So he's working there. We also have a young guy we're really excited about Wilson Davis. He's going to be a 10th grader, and he hasn't played football but 2 years, so he's still learning the ropes and all, but has a lot of ability, a really good passer. And so it's probably going to be a combination of those two guys. We also run our wing where we rotate some runners there as well. And so it's really just a work in progress. We're really excited about those guys and the commitment they've shown to this offseason, showing how important it is to them, and they understand that. We definitely got to get some good play out of that position, and those guys are continuing to work and battle, and hopefully we'll have a great summer and we can use both of those guys next year.
And then who have you seen just in the backfield who is going to be able to take those tough carries and lead you guys on those long, sustained drives that are such a huge part of your success?
Well, it starts up front, and like I said, we got 4 of the 5 back plus one of our tight ends. So we feel like if we can be good there, then there's a lot of faces and run the football. DeAndre Pascal is the one bigger back we got. He's about 210 pounds. He'll play some fullback blocking back. And he's had a really good offseason. He'll be a senior. We got Tyler Williams, who's a littler guy, about 5'6", 140 pounds, but he's really strong and explosive and quick. He's got good vision. He had a great year for us last year. LaFabian Boone, when he's not in the quarterback line, will go there as well. And then we're really excited about a kid that's going to be a junior, Orion Bly, who played some linebacker for us and started last year as a sophomore. And now we've kind of been able to work him into the offensive rotation. We feel like he's got some explosion and maybe a guy that can step in and take some big carries for us there as well.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, I know they are able to play both sides of the ball. So how did that work out in spring, just kind of seeing guys that you can use on defense, but kind of fitting them into that more primary role offensively?
Yeah, well, we want to put our best players on the field. At the end of the game, you don't really pick whether it's offense or defense. So we want to be able to put our best players on the field no matter what it turns out to be. That may require us to simplify some things a little bit on offense or defense, but I'm kind of more in charge of the offense, and I'm going to get whoever I want. And my defense coordinator, John Gamble, knows there's nobody that's off limits. If there's somebody he thinks can help, then he gets them, and we kind of break our practice time up to where we both get the same amount of time. The only time that we really may hold a guy is if there's a young guy like, say, Orion was last year, and he's playing both ways, but he works himself into a starting job on defense. Well, he may just need to focus on defense, being a young guy, and get all those reps there and kind of focus on that. But if it's not that situation with a young guy, our best players are going to be out there on offense and defense. And, it just is what it is. It requires our kids to be tough and have a good mindset, and we're going to have to get them in shape. But we got some warriors, and when the game's on the line, we want our best players out there, and our best players, fortunately, they want to be out there as well. So it's worked so far, and hopefully we can continue to get better.
Yep. Orion will be a class of 2025 prospect we'll be watching this year. What did you see in spring? Did you guys have a scrimmage?
No, our varsity didn't. We did, some things at the end of class, just some position drills, some conditioning stuff, and just figuring out, who will fight, who will battle, who we can count on to be consistent, show up every day with a great attitude and give great effort. And like I said, we got a good nucleus back, but there are a lot of spots that are up for grabs. And so as we get into summer, it'll become a little bit more football. But, I like where we're at right now. We just got to continue to get better each and every day and understand that the success that we've had in the previous years amounts to absolutely nothing this year. We got to do it again, and we got to earn it again. And we just take, a lot of one-day commitments and try to do our best one day at a time, and we'll piece it all together as we go.
And then who will be a team that you're going to scrimmage before you guys open things off with Irwin County?
Right, so we didn't do a spring scrimmage, so we get 2 fall scrimmages. We'll go against Coffee, the first scrimmage, and ECI, the second one. We really like going against Coffee. They're close, but they're a program that's kind of built like us. They're in the weight room. They're big, they're strong, they're physical, and whenever you play them for a good physical battle and a test, and that's really what we need. Not doing spring, coming out, we need to find out, where we're at physicality-wise, and so that'll be a great test. And then we get ECI, that's a good program that runs some wing T that hopefully will get us prepared for that big game week 1 in Irwin County.
Yeah, certainly the Pruitts know coffee is a great program. It's where your father was coaching. And is he still in Florida coaching?
Yeah, he's at Williston High School. I actually
That's
went
right.
down and saw their spring last night. They had a big win against Clay, and so it was good to see those guys. But he's got Coach Vaughn and Coach Dorsett, a lot of the old guys back with him, and he's doing good there in Williston.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck the rest of this off season, and we are looking forward to seeing what you guys do in 2A next year.
All right, thanks for having me, man. Take care.
You bet. All right, so there goes Coach Pruitt. Let's look real quick. These last 3 years specifically, so 13-1 in 2020. They had a really young team. 2021, they win the state title. And then last year, we're just having an unbelievable year, 14-0 heading into the finals. Squared off with Thompson, who was new to the classification. And that was just a game where Jontavius Curry just went off, had a kind of heroic performance, and Fitzgerald ended up losing a heartbreaker, a really close game, one of many in the championships. And so that is a really successful run. But that 2021 championship was so important to them. Fitzgerald's last state title came in 1948. It had been over 70 years. They had lost in the finals in 64, 69, 2000, 2015, 2016, and 2017. So their last 6 they have lost. They finally get the state title. They've been knocking on the door, and then last year just came up so shy of going back to back. So a program that's been in 3 straight finals obviously has that toughness. Offensively, their line's going to be a huge factor in their success early, especially playing Irwin County out the gates. But they are a team that traditionally does kind of run first, and then once they get that run game going, they're able to pass a little bit more. But you'd expect them to be 80% run, 20% pass, something around there. But they're always a tough team. And then defensively, that was a spot where they were kind of more inexperienced last season, but they ended up coming on really strong in the end, closing out games, getting the big overtime win in, I believe, the quarterfinals. I forgot who that was against. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Rockmart, a team that was scoring like 50 points a game. They beat them 21-14 in overtime. They beat Fellowship Christian in the semis 19-9. They shut out Central Macon in the first round. They beat Putnam County in the second. So the defense really came on strong. And with a bunch of those guys returning, it will be very interesting. And obviously they have two-way players too that will be able to go in on offense in situations. And then their their quarterbacks, as he said, it's going to be LaFabian Boone. He is going to be a senior. He played a cornerback last year, but can also play running back, a really athletic playmaker. And then Wilson Davis, who was a freshman last year. He's only been playing football for 2 seasons, as Coach Pruitt said, but it looks like he's been getting some snaps as well. So that'll be exciting to watch. Got a really intriguing schedule, and I think that final non-region game against Madison County should be interesting. They had one of the best running backs in Florida last year, and then their 2 scrimmages are huge too, against Coffee, really big powerhouse in the higher classifications, and ECI, a team that is always outstanding. I have one more piece of news before we go. Looks like former college coach and Pope High School alum Jay McCauley is hired as last year's new basketball coach. He is the former Wofford men's basketball coach, that's the Terriers, and he was hired by Lassiter, when was this? Yesterday. The 39-year-old McCauley, a Pope alum and inductee into the school's Athletic Hall of Fame last fall, and former Georgia basketball player, is returning to Cobb County with hopes of revitalizing Lassiter's program. The Trojans went 8-18 last year with a 3-7 mark. They have not qualified. They've not qualified for the state playoffs since 2017. You can go to the Marietta Daily Journal for the full article on this. I think it's an intriguing hire, though, and we were talking about it before the show. The off-season is really busy for basketball. There's always over 100 transfers. You bring in a big-name coach like that to Lassiter. We saw Walton's boys team make it to the quarterfinals last year. We know what Wheeler's doing. And so Cobb County basketball obviously had a great year. Wheeler is the gold standard, but a lot of these programs have big-time potential. You had Kell win the boys and girls state titles last year, so watch out for Lassiter. It might not be 1 year, but maybe 2-3 years from now, they might be a big-time basketball program. So thought that was interesting, but that's it for today. I hope everyone has a great Memorial Day weekend. Oh yeah, let's go over one more thing. Sorry. Gotta wet my whistle, even though I hate that saying. All right, let's look at the latest Directors' Cup standings. That's what I wanted to point out. And it looks like it's going to be Lambert in 7A, dethroning Walton. They had an outstanding year. They won the golf state title, and I think that pretty much sealed the deal for them. All right, we're going to go to the current standings. All right, so 7A, and I believe these are fully updated at this point, but Lambert 1,419 points. Second place Walton 1,305, so it's more than a 100-point victory. Looks like that's going to be Lambert's. North Gwinnett, Buford, and Carrollton also finished in the top 5. In Class 6A, Marist edged Pope. So Marist, they went up from 4A to 6A this year, and they win the Directors' Cup. So that's a big-time accomplishment. Pope finished second, BT third, St. Pius fourth, Etowah, North Forsyth, Lassiter, Roswell, Woodward, and Johns Creek also in the top 10. 5A, let's see. Cambridge with a 1,254 total, just above McIntosh, 1,229. So that'd be a big-time accomplishment for the Bears, taking that Directors' Cup. In 4A, Westminster edging North Oconee late. Westminster's track success was obviously a huge part of that. The boys were edged by Southwest DeKalb, but they had a big top 3 finish. And then the girls won the track state title. In 3A, Wesleyan edged Oconee County and Savannah Christian. And then 2A, Mount Perrin, 12-48, and then Athens Academy second place. So we'll know for sure next week, but it looks like that is who's going to take the Directors' Cup this year. All right, so we'll be back next week, probably on Wednesday. Go to thescoreatl.com for the final baseball rankings. Go to the Score Atlanta YouTube page for Najee's show yesterday. Had a great interview with Alpharetta starting linebacker Ashton Moore, right? Really impressive young prospect. Stepped up as a freshman, played linebacker, and you just watch the interview. You know that guy's the real deal, and you can find that on the YouTube page. But everyone have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.